Welcome back. The sun is setting on a beautiful Minecraft day, and I have built a shop. To my knowledge, this is the smallest 1 to N Minecraft Java Edition redstone shop on YouTube. And it might not look that small, but if we go around the back, you'll see that it's pretty tiny. If we don't include the outer building that I put around it here, it is 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks deep, 3 blocks wide, and I believe 7 blocks tall, making it 84 cubic meters in volume. Now, let's give it a test here. We've got some diamonds. This is an awful exchange rate, by the way. If you see this, don't buy it. But we want 3 polished black stone brick walls, so we're going to pay 3 diamonds. We can get 1, 2, and 3. And that is one of the easiest ways to waste 3 diamonds. So the shop is pretty easy to use. Now, as you can see, there's a dispenser back here that spits out the shulker boxes, but if you open it up, there's nothing inside. So if you have a grief prevention plugin that stops players from breaking blocks but allows them to open containers, you can make this shop completely theft-proof just by surrounding it with blocks. Alright, that's a bit of how to use the shop. Let's see how it works. Alright, let's take a look here. So, when a player puts diamonds in this barrel, they get accepted by this item filter here, which is calibrated with beaners to only accept diamonds. Now, this is a bit of a non-standard item filter. You've got a comparator, of course, and got a redstone torch down here, but I flattened out the redstone, so it takes 3 vertical blocks instead of 4. And so it runs down here into this repeater through this block, around here, and then it runs into this torch. So it works the same, looks a little different. Then for every time the item filter pulses, so every diamond that gets let through, this redstone torch is turned off for just long enough to allow one item to flow from this hopper into this dispenser. And these are, of course, our shulker boxes full of items. So every diamond will release 1 shulker full of items. Now, the next step in the process is dispensing the shulker boxes, and this is very easy. There's a comparator running out of this dispenser right there, and that powers this piston to fire up and start this observer clock, which powers the dispenser, and that will automatically keep dispensing shulker boxes until there are no more to dispense. Now, when the shulker box is empty, this comparator will get updated, and that'll send a signal to this observer, to this piston, and that'll push the observer out to this point, powering the barrel, powering this repeater, pushing this piston and slab down, and that breaks the shulker box. It falls through the soul sand into the hopper line and into this storage barrel for all the empty boxes. Finally, the out-of-stock system is a little bit unconventional. So this hopper has some buffer stock in it, this bottom one, and this is the one that's actually getting detected. So when it runs out of stock, this comparator here will unpower this barrel, which will unpower the hopper, and that'll open it up, allowing the beaner to flow through all these hoppers into this bottom barrel. Now, on the other side of this block, there's a comparator detecting whether there's something in this barrel, and when there is, i.e. when the shop is out of stock, it'll power this barrel, which powers this light, and powers this hopper, which stops more items from flowing in and turns on the light, obviously, because it's powered. And that's it. That's how the shop works. Finally, let's go over how to build the shop. So we'll start on the bottom layer, and this is going to be about 1, 2, 3 blocks below your input barrel. Now you'll want to put out wool or other solid blocks in this shape right here, and you'll put a redstone torch on this end of the line of blocks. Moving up to the second layer, we'll have a hopper on top of the redstone torch running into a barrel towards, we'll call this the north even though it isn't, as you can tell by the sun, towards the north. And to the north end of the barrel, another solid block. At the far north, we'll have a piece of redstone dust running into a repeater set to 1 tick, running into a solid block. Give me a moment here. And then to the south of that solid block, 3 redstone dust, and then 1 on the last bit of wool, with a target block in between them all. That's layer 2. Now moving up to layer 3, things start to get actually properly complicated. We'll place a comparator facing north on top of the barrel, running into a redstone dust, and then behind the comparator a hopper pointing into it. We'll place a barrel beside this hopper, a hopper running into that barrel, and a hopper to the north of that hopper running into the first hopper. I think I said hopper too many times. Whatever, it works. On top of this red wool, you'll place a redstone torch, and then above the repeater, a barrel, and a wool block to the south of it, and a comparator running out of that block into this barrel right here. Now layer 4. Ooh, this is a fun one to build. On top of this barrel, you'll place a redstone lamp. On top of the west hopper, another barrel. A barrel behind that barrel, and a hopper running into the back barrel. Place soul sand over this hopper right here. Then place a solid block above the redstone torch and to the north of this middle hopper. Now on the side of this barrel, or solid block, whichever, place a sticky piston facing up. Then place a hopper running into this back barrel and a hopper running into the hopper above the barrel. Layer 5. Place a comparator running out from the block above the soul sand and a dispenser pointed at the air above the soul sand. Place a comparator running out of that dispenser into an observer observing the comparator, which means it'll be powering out. Place a hopper running straight into the out of stock hopper line, and then a wool block above the barrel and above the hopper right here. Then place a hopper running into the dispenser. Layer 6. Place an observer observing this comparator and powering upwards. Place an observer observing the air above this observer clock observer and powering this direction. Place a solid block above the dispenser and a top slab over the soul sand attached to the dispenser solid block. The solid block over the dispenser, same difference. On top of the out of stock hopper line back here, place a barrel, a comparator running into the barrel, and place a hopper pointed straight down behind the comparator. Alright, layer 7. This is a very important one. So, on top of this observer right here, you'll place a sticky piston facing towards the back, and an observer observing the air here and pointing into the barrel. Now, out of the barrel, place a repeater set to 2 ticks, it has to be 2, and then above the top slab, place a sticky piston facing down. And then don't forget the sign, you don't actually need it. I just like RexxStone stuff. And that's it. That's the build. Now after that, you'll need to set up the item filter. So place 1 diamond in this top hopper, 18 lock items, and 1, 2, 3 lock items. I named them Sticks Beaner, but you can just name them whatever. Then in the bottom hopper, place 1 extra diamond. Finally, stock your shop with a lot of shulker boxes. They should all contain the same contents, but you'll need to fill up this barrel and this hopper. So fill up the shulker boxes first, and then the out-of-stock system. Now, for the out-of-stock system, go to this barrel right over here. Place one item. It can be literally any item in Minecraft, but just don't use TNT. That's just never a good idea. Fine. And that's it. You're ready to start accepting orders.